The Longridge mount cutting system is made up of two types of system. We have the autograph, which is the red rail here, and then we have the signature system, the blue rail. Both cutting rails fit onto the Longridge baseboard, and what I'd like to show you is the key differences between the two types of system. It's a common asked question when demonstrating, and we're just going to show you a few sort of simple guides as to how we define the differences. The signature system, the autograph system is designed for small artists, crafters. It's a great system for doing lots of range of different styles of mounts. The signature system is really aimed at photographers who are cutting lots of repeat size mounts and want to produce those mounts really quickly, really easily. So really the key question is the difference between the two. So it's important to note that the quality of cut on both systems is exactly the same. And the quality of that cut comes from the accuracy of the blade itself and the cutting baseboard and the sprint mat that we use within that baseboard. The difference between the two systems is that when we're setting out our borders on our mount board, we take our mount board, and if we're using the autograph signature, the autograph system, then we mark out those borders using the border width gauge. And that is a really simple pencil and gauge system. It's quite hard to see on the video, but we use that to mark out the lines on the back of the mount board, which will define the aperture within the mount. To make that slightly easier, I've just marked that in pen on that one, but that's what we use the border width guide for. And when we're using the autograph system, we set the mount board under the cutting rail, and that pencil line that we've marked out, we need to set that absolutely in line with the cutting rail. Now, if we don't align that correctly, or we leave a gap between the cutting rail and the pencil line, it's just going to change how the cuts come together in the corner. So what I'm trying to say is that it's important that me as the user controls the setup and thereby the accuracy of that placement. Now, if we're doing lots of repeat mounts, there's a little bit of slowing down there. Not a lot, but a little bit. So what the signature system gives us is a parallel measuring arm that makes marking out quicker. So if we need to mark out the mount board, we can use the built-in border width scale on the side here, and we can quickly and easily define the border width that we would like to use and engage that. So I've just set that to about 7 centimeters. So when I come to place the mount board under the cutting rail, it refers up to the edge of the stop, and we use a pen to show the marking out here. We'd normally use a sharp 2H pencil, but I'm just using a pen just so that it's a bit easier to see on the video. So we've marked out our 4 sides, and this becomes the aperture in the middle there. Now the point with the signature system is every time I present that mount board into the rail system up against the parallel arm, my pen line, or pencil line ordinarily, is exactly in line with the cutting rail, set parallel and set to the exact position. Every time I turn that board, the same thing happens. It is presented into the cutting rail to the exact pencil mark, no problems. And that really is the advantage of signature. It's the speed of setup. Every time I rotate, it's exactly where it needs to be. Now, to show the cut, we have the bevel cutter, and in the bevel cutter there is a very small, or it's just a V groove there, and the center of that V groove is our cut indicator. So we place the bevel cutter onto the cutting rail, it engages onto the rail. We can then use our production stops to define the end of the cut and the start of the cut. So as a user, I don't now need to guess where I'm starting, where I'm finishing. It's all defined within the production stops themselves. And also what's really important again with the signature is that that mount board is held against the cutting rail, exactly on the cutting line. A light amount of support on the rail will give us all the support we need on the mount board itself. So then to activate the cut, we're using the palm of our hand as always, and a nice clean down action, and then cut up to the stop. And whilst I look at you doing the video there, of course I've not needed to look here. Every part of that cut is preset. So it makes that cutting process really simple. This is a rectangular mount, so I'm just going to flip the mount 180 degrees, check my setup, my start position and my end position are the same. So again, to activate the cut, clean push down, across and lift out the cut. So my two short sides there are cut. Again, every time I place the mount board in, the parallel arm is ensuring that everything is set in line with the cutting rail. So now coming to cut the longer side of the board, I'm going to have to reposition one of my production stops because we're producing a longer cut. But again, once those production stops are set, all I have to do is go down on the cut, across and lift out the cut. And that gives me a nice clean dropout. And that cutout is produced without the need of undercutting or overcutting. The production stops really do allow us to define the absolute position of our start and end cut. So down, across and lift up the blade. And what we will get is a really nice clean mount. Of course it's quite difficult to show you that on video, but we've got nice clean corner cuts. Now what's secondary, very important about the signature system is that if we have a number of repeat mounts, these are 10 by 8s, and we need to cut the same window apertures all the time, then I can take my start cut, produce that, and then I've got the rest of my boards. Now I'm not going to need to mark out the back of this because everything is preset. So into the mount cutter, I'm going to go back and start my long line of cuts first. And those two long line of cuts are a repeat of this mount board here. Now, for anybody paying attention, you will notice that I've got no lines now to reset up for my shortcuts. So if I was doing a series of mount boards, maybe I've got 5 or 6 mounts to cut, I would repeat cut the long cuts first of all. Then go back to my original mount, place that back in, and then reset the cut positions using the first cut mount as a reference. So now I can go back to that second mount and just make those cuts, knowing that all the cut positions are set within the system itself. And that's how I get my repeat mount. So really, to surmise, the biggest difference between autograph and signature is that signature, with its built-in parallel reference arm, allows you to position the mount within the mount cutting system very quickly and very accurately. So the quality of the cut is the same, the speed and the ease of the cut is the same, but the positioning of the mount board within the signature system is much quicker. And that leads to repeat mount cuts really nice and easy, nice and quickly. And for photographers, that's quite handy when you're doing display panels and you're cutting a repeat number of the same size mounts. With the signature system, you can just roll those out really quickly. So that's just a very quick guide, the difference between autograph and signature, and we've concentrated there showing you what the signature can do and the extra benefits it has within the system. I hope that helps. Thank you.